At the wedding I'd personally designed, my childhood sweetheart, who never smiled, ran off with his assistant, both of them still wearing the gown I'd chosen. His younger brother suddenly climbed into the bridal car, dragged me, panicking, straight to city, and declared we were getting our marriage certificate. The set crashed down, revealing a ballroom full of guests laughing at me. The two boys who once swore to cherish me forever shredded a fake marriage certificate and threw the pieces in my face, just to make Luna smile. All three of them clinked glasses on stage, lost in their own world. Your wedding plan is so old school. Turning it into Luna's bachelorette bash is your honor. The real ceremony is next Sunday. Isn't Luna's idea a fun surprise? They were certain I couldn't live without them. I simply lifted my phone with steady fingers. Wedding date with the Caldwell heir? Let's lock in this Sunday. Before we go on, subscribe and tell us where you're listening from. Elated replies exploded on my screen. Design deck for the wedding, scheduling it now. Luna pouted against Adrian's chest. I'm anti-marriage, sis. I just wanted to feel what a wedding was like, and the Sterling brothers made it happen right away. I didn't answer. Adrian slapped the phone from my hand. Deaf? Where are your sterling manners? Luna's pure. Must you be so petty you can't even speak? My fiancé Adrian stepped in front of me, shielding Luna. He spotted the screen. What schedule? Work trip? I snatched the phone and blacked it. Sterling project. The three of them looked so picture perfect that my wedding gown, still flecked with fake certificate confetti, seemed like a joke. Whispers rippled below the stage. Look at her, still thinks she's the bride? This whole party is for Luna. Brother runs, so she chases the younger one. Poor Adrian stuck with a girl who can't live without a man. The guests were spoiled heirs who'd always loathed me. Tonight they bathed in my humiliation. The boys WH. Oh, once vowed to guard me for life now orbited Luna, hearts in their eyes. I scanned the room. Every romantic detail I'd engineered lay in ruins. White balloons and roses were spray-painted scarlet, happy single life. This whole circus had been scripted to showcase their devotion to Luna. I peeled a paper scrap from my lashes, my hand trembled. Luna froze, eyes welling. Sis, I'm sorry. I only wanted to surprise you with a fun bachelorette party. Adrian stroked her hair, gaze icy. Stop the pity act. You've planned hundreds of weddings, seen every stunt. Adrian exploded. He seized my wrist and flung me toward Luna. Serena. She's just a kid starting out. Only she'd fall for your pour me routine. Apologize, now. I bit back the pain, steadied myself, and slipped off the ring I'd designed. Adrian's face darkened, he instinctively hid his hand. The handmade band I'd spent 3 months crafting had already been swapped for Luna's match. I answered fast. You're right, enjoy the bachelorette bash. They stared, stunned. For once I wasn't fighting them over Luna. When she'd tossed my stomach medicine, they'd diverted every ambulance in town. Before driving off they'd stared down at me. Quit the drama. Every time Luna shows up you play sick. I wasn't going to fight anymore. We're done. I tossed the ring. Adrian blinked, his face turning storm black. I smiled. Happy single life, right? Adrian shot to his feet. Crazy? Luna planned a surprise and you spit on it. If you won't marry into Sterling, who'd even want you? A fresh blade of ice slid into my heart. I flicked the shredded fake certificate at him. He grabbed my wrist, roaring. How dare you? The pain felt sharp and real. I remembered how they used to fuss over every scrape. Now I was no one to them. I replied, calm. It's Luna's concept, try it on for size. Adrian went mute, face burning, then hurled the scraps back at me. Had your tantrum yet, Serena? Adrian stepped closer, frowning. Our wedding is next week. Keep embarrassing us and I'll cancel it. Once, I'd have begged on my knees. After my parents died protecting me, Grandma loathed me and refused custody, so the Sterlings took me in. Living on their charity left me cringing, apologizing first whenever anyone sulked, just to keep the peace. They claimed it hurt them, swore to keep me safe from every frown. 17 years later I'd chosen steady Adrian. Adrian still treated me like a kid sister he could lose. Yet time marched on, Sterling flew abroad for treatment, and I, an outdated toy, was discarded, unloved. The wedding I'd dreamed of became the wedding that mocked me. The crowd below jeered even louder. Dump the loser, she doesn't know her place. Both boys towered above me, waiting for my apology, no shred of warmth left. I lifted a cool smile. Congrats to the happy trio, may your marriage last forever. The hall hushed. Adrian lunged, hand raised. What filth. You know how sacred a girl's reputation is, yet you smear Luna? Spoiled brat. He knew this wedding meant the world to me, yet he trampled it for her. When his gaze met my wet eyes he faltered. I turned and strode out. Adrian panicked and started after me, but Adrian's icy order rang out. Let her go. A homeless orphan, where could she possibly run? Footsteps paused, then Adrian bounded into the corridor, yelling into the emptiness. You seriously leaving? The Sterlings raised you worse than a stray mutt. Tears slid in silence as I reached the curb. Drive to city. I stared at our brand new marriage certificate, dazed. I'd met Lucian through work, turned him down, circled back, and married him anyway. 5 days left, time to bury the past. I went home to grab essentials, but my life was tangled with Sterling's money I could never repay. I called Lucian, voice shaking. He wired the sum before I finished. One condition. Plan me a spectacle, wedding aired live from every major city. Lucian's low laugh tingled through me as I studied the dreamlike sketches he'd Ent. He unlocked doors to A-list planners. Every prop in the venue would shift on cue from my design deck. He clearly meant to catapult me to glory. Meanwhile Sterling's best projects were handed to Luna. I was left scraps, then forced to add her name to my own design deck. My smile cooled. Adrian was right. I once believed I couldn't breathe without them. Not anymore. Love isn't a leash, it's the freedom to stand. On the 4th night before the wedding, half asleep, I heard whispers outside. Told you, she crawls back like a dog. I forced myself up, but Adrian snatched the draft from my desk. Our wedding's in days, what's the point of planning now? He didn't know it was my blueprint with Lucian. I reclaimed the pages without a word. He softened. Luna only wanted to surprise you. We're still marrying next week, don't sulk, okay? I knew every detail would be Luna's chaos. Anniversaries, birthdays, she hijacked them all, became the star, while I crouched in corners eating ruined cake. Like now, 2 days vanished, not a single text. Too tired to care, I murmured agreement. Relieved, Adrian called Adrian inside. Sorry we snapped, Serena. Sterling doors stay open, always. I nodded. Adrian exhaled and produced a gift box. Inside lay a pair of worn stilettos. They flinched as if the shoes burned. I arched a brow. Adrian mumbled, gaze skittering away. Must have been left by some guest, wrong box, honest mistake. Even Adrian, who swore he'd never lie, backed him up. Yeah, you know how casual some friends are. Funny, I'd never heard of guests riding in their private car, the one whose passenger seat Luna claimed with bare feet on my old cushion. But I was past caring. My indifference rattled them. Serena, why do you look so down? You're not still mad, right? The next second they were on guard. If something's up, tell us, just don't take it out on Luna. I shook my head. I just figured I shouldn't throw tantrums anymore. They exchanged glances, stunned by this obedient version of me they hadn't seen in years. A special ringtone chirped from both phones at once. They lit up and turned to leave. I lowered my eyes. Aren't you going to give me my gift? They froze, delight flipping to disgust as they hurled the box at my face. Can't you see we're busy? How did we never notice how materialistic you are? When they saw blood, they flinched, but their feet kept moving. Open it yourself, the first aid kit's in the cabinet. The door slammed. The clock ticked to midnight, 3 days left. I spoke so softly it barely left my throat. Did you know? Today's actually my birthday. They'd finally reached the point where they forgot it altogether. Fine, at least no one could mock me for expecting anything. I booked a Sunday dawn flight and drove through cold rain to Hillside. When I was little I'd begged to celebrate in the mountains. My parents were buried there after the mudslide. I grew up certain I'd murdered them with a childish wish. Lucian talked the whole way, trying to ease the guilt. They loved you, so they hoisted you above their heads when the mountain came down. They want you happy. Tears scalded my eyes. No one had ever said that, everyone called me their killer. Even the Sterling boys refused to speak of it. I asked Lucian to wait outside so I could talk to my parents alone. Then I saw Adrian and River standing by the grave. I froze, they hadn't visited in 3 years, not since Luna arrived. I drifted forward, dazed. The next second they lifted shovels and began to dig my parents' plot. I scrambled over, blocking their blades. What are you doing? These are my parents. Guilt flickered across their faces, then hardened into righteousness. Luna's tarantula died. A fortune teller said this spot balances its chi. We found your folks a nicer place. They're still my parents. Tears flooded my cheeks as I screamed. Luna darted in and shoved me, shielding River. Crazy woman. Don't you dare hurt River. In the scuffle an urn toppled. Both boys cog. HT Luna, cradling the scratch on her ankle. I crawled to the urn, sobbing. Once they'd basked in my parents' affection, now they'd uproot them for a spider. Luna yelped, but for once no one rushed to coddle her. River faltered when he saw my tears. Adrian knelt to hug me. They're gone, Serena, let them rest, I swung at him. Luna shrieked, diving in to take the slap, then collapsed. It's okay, brother. I don't mind a scar if it calms her, she knelt, weeping prettily. But I'd already pulled the blow, I barely brushed her cheek. Instantly their pity flipped to rage. River pressed my face into the mud. Adrian forced me to kneel before the spilled ashes. You killed your parents, now you want to kill Luna? How do you face them? Each word stabbed. Luna grinned behind them, and hurled the urn to the ground. Adrian growled, I'll send someone to clean the ashes. Right now we're teaching you manners. I shrieked and clawed forward, but they dragged me away. As I broke down, Lucien appeared at the far gate. My eyes flared. I screamed for him. A guard clamped a hand over my mouth, crushing my throat. I beat the car window as they drove me off, willing Lucien to see. But the engine roared and my hope shrank behind me. The car screeched to a stop outside the Sterling gate. River shielded Luna with an umbrella while Adrian hauled me out. He flung the boxes I'd packed at my body. All three loomed over me in the downpour. River sneered. Thought you'd leave? Watch how far you'd get without the Sterlings. I knelt, gathering soaked gear. Adrian's voice dropped. Apologize to Luna and you're still our fiancé. I sorted the ruined props, none salvageable. What can't be saved must be tossed. Tires squealed, a warm coat settled on my shoulders. Lucien held an umbrella, his face colder than I'd ever seen. Your family's daughter-in-law? He asked softly. The brothers left Luna in the rain and stepped forward, eyes black. You vanished to shack up with this random guy? Calling him husband Al. Ready, how desperate are you? Because Lucien kept a low profile, Adrian seized on the unknown. I'm her fiancé. Serena, cheating days before the wedding? I slapped him so hard his head snapped. Lucien's gaze slid to Luna. Keep your mistress yet demand chastity? Sterling manners, ladies and gentlemen. Silence. Luna's face twisted when neither umbrella tilted her way. She cuddled up to River, whimpering, my ankle hurts. For once no one fetched miracle balm, no one even answered. The brothers stared only at me, hunting for a crack. I felt nothing. Adrian's fingers bit into my arm. There's nothing with Luna, Serena, don't let him twist this, Luna's voice cracked. Adrian, we already know. I cut her off. But I told you, we're over. Adrian's eyes reddened, I shook free. River reached for my hand, voice breaking. What does that man have? We raised you for 15 years. Raised me? Grandma's monthly deposits paid for everything. I coughed and pointed at the soaked design tools. I'm no longer a Sterling. You just threw me out. Their faces drained. That's not how it is. I slipped my arm through Lucien's and walked away. Their shouts chased me. You'll regret this, Serena. I never looked back. Lucien shielded me to the curb. On my last day in the country I went to Sterling to hand over files. Lucien waited outside the elevator, refusing to budge. While I signed papers I heard coworkers whisper. That's the fiancé who cheated on the boss, right over her parents' graves. Shameless. My phone exploded with photos of Lucien and me. Hashtag elite wedding planner cheats hashtags climbed, cancellations flooded in. I won't let a slut plan my wedding, go die. I deleted the bile one message at a time. Adrian and River cornered me in the stairwell, eyes bloodshot. Serena, we knew you'd come. Marry me tomorrow and the rumor dies, Adrian whispered, grabbing my hand. I know you used that guy to hurt us. I don't care, it's what you wanted, River nodded. Still mad we tossed your stuff? Joke. Over, everything was old anyway. I pulled free. Did you leak those photos? Guilt flashed, their grips tightened. Luna did it, she's punished. The top planner desk is still yours, I knew. HR had demoted her that morning while cartloads of jewels consoled her in her new office. I shook my head. Remember when you gave me those devices as gifts? They stiffened. Old tools belong in the trash. I knew, Luna was nothing more than a convenient prop for the cameras. The real string pullers, the ones fanning every spark into a bonfire, were the two of them. I gave a small nod. Then let's pick a wedding gown. Their eyes lit up like midnight skyscrapers, faces drunk on sudden joy. We knew you couldn't walk away. Come see the venue right now. I almost laughed out loud. I was studying their gowns only to make sure mine wouldn't look like a carbon copy. Caldwell pockets might be bottomless, but I still refused to show up in the same silhouette as someone else. Like old times, they muscled me into the passenger seat. The second they spotted the cushion I'd left on the floor, their smiles cracked, they shoved me into the back instead. I pretended I was blind to the whole charade. Lucien's car tagged along at a polite distance until we reached the ceremony space. For the first time in forever they rushed to open both doors, one at each side, to help me out. A far cry from the night they'd marched every bodyguard away with Luna and left me sprinting through rain to the banquet alone. They hovered like fragile glass. Look, every detail is straight from your original design deck. Those TV reporters are here so I can set the record straight tomorrow. They never finished the sentence, their eyes ballooned in shock. The aisle had been butchered, the decor scrambled, and the bouquet glowed a hideous neon green. Luna came clacking out in heels. You're finally here. Oh, spotting me, she morphed into a startled bunny and dove for Adrian's chest. Song-chi yanked her back midair. Live. ID. Who gave you the right to mess with the floor plan? Between every barked word he shot a guilty glance my way. Tears pooled in Luna's eyes. You demoted me. I was only trying to earn my keep by pouring everything into this huge wedding. You two handed me the all-access pass yourselves. One tear and the brothers used to fold her into a group hug, cooing apologies. This time they scrambled toward me instead. Serena, don't overthink it, the pass was only temporary while you were off-site. Luna's face cycled from scarlet to ash. I shook my head and passed them the photo of the gown I'd already chosen. After all, the layout they'd praised was a discarded draft I'd lost months ago. I still had no clue how Luna got her manicured claws on it. And that temporary clearance card had been hers for years. Only after they saw my gown selection did their lungs loosen. We'll pick you up tomorrow, don't worry about the media storm. We'll land you bigger clients than ever. I offered a generic hum and kept flipping through my boarding pass and the final design deck. Adrian and Song-chi sensed something was off, yet couldn't find a seam to rip open. They camped outside my suite at the Grand until the small hours. When I opened the suitcase, rough sketches fluttered out like white moths. Adrian scooped one up, eyes sparkling. Serena, I knew you were still excited. We'll throw another ceremony later using this concept. We've got all the time in the world. He didn't know we were already out of tomorrows. His gaze burned with the same devotion that once convinced me I was his oxygen. Song-chi hooked an arm around my shoulders, voice bright. The Sterling family will always be your home. After they left I scrubbed myself 3 times, rubbing my skin raw. At dawn I boarded Lucien's car bound for Riverdale, my phone detonated with pings. Text after text from Adrian and Song-chi, panicked, pleading. Where are you? Pick up. Riverdale shows no trace of you, answer us. While the hashtag Top Planner turns homewrecker rocketed up the trending list, I slid the SIM card out and dropped it into a trash can at the terminal. Only when the plane touched foreign soil and I stepped into the new venue did I feel the past unhook its claws from my throat. A knock, my assistant entered and handed me a phone streaming the Sterling ceremony live. On screen, someone shrieked that the bride had arrived. Adrian spun around, pupils blazing, but the cameras locked on Luna climbing out of the car in a wedding gown. She glided toward him, he recoiled as if stung. Song-chi forced a grin at the lenses. Serena, hurry, or your groom will be stolen. The reporters exchanged bewildered looks, that old inside joke now sounded obscene. Luna winked at the press and giggled, sorry. My bridesmaid dress ripped, this was the spare. Adrian seized her wrist, voice gravel low. Where is she? Luna stammered, she vanished. Probably eloped with that male mistress. Both men's fists clenched, they exploded out of the chapel. The camera crew stampeded after them but skidded to a halt the instant they cleared the doors. Across the plaza, LED billboards looped highlight reels of Lucien and me, our coffee runs, skyline selfies, midnight drafts, synced to a heartthrob soundtrack. The crowd shrieked, the numbers on social media skyrocketed. Then the screen froze on our marriage certificate, filed 5 days earlier. Frame by frame came every receipt I'd hoarded, stolen credits, forged expenses, doctored therapy notes, time-stamped, watermarked, undeniable. The color drained from Adrian's and Song-chi's faces, they swayed like cutout dolls. 5 days ago they'd used my masterpiece of a wedding to trample me for Luna's amusement. 5 days later they still let Luna prance in a bridesmaid dress while I'd already built a new life. I set the phone down and let the past bury itself. Seconds after the evidence reel ended, the live feed of Lucien's and my ceremony replaced it. The vision Adrian once belle. Eid was his, clouds of blush pink balloons, cascading florals, every fantasy rendered in 3 dimensions, unfolded under my name now. Caldwell Gold converted my sleepless sketches into carved marble and starlight before the blink of an eye. Watching the perfect wedding I'd sketched 1,000 times finally breathe, I teared up. My design radiated romance, Caldwell money gilded every edge. Guests lost their words over each installation, each angle. Near the close, Lucien raised his champagne toward the drone camera. To everyone lucky enough to find forever today, cheers. I caught the cocky glint in his eye and laughed, clinking my glass against the lens. Out of shot, we both set our mics down, the broadcast wrapped. The wedding and the long-concealed Caldwell heir exploded across every platform, hashtags multiplied like fireworks. Clips of Song-Chi and Adrian gaping were spliced in for good measure. The spin they'd planted weeks earlier slashed back at them like a boomerang. Public opinion flipped overnight, the last Sterling apologists had their accounts nuked. For once the world felt the full weight of Caldwell influence, and recalibrated its image of Sterling accordingly. I kept my eyes on an upcoming international competition instead. So I was startled to run into Song-Chi and Adrian while location scouting on my honeymoon. They lunged, each grabbing an arm, trying to haul me away. That wedding was blueprint for me. Enough tantrums, come home. Adrian barked. Song-Chi snarled, issue a retraction now. A fake certificate and a runaway bride. Do you have any idea what this scandal is costing Sterling? Grow up. Tag team interrogation, same old song. I wrenched free. The plan was never yours to begin with. Our vows died the night you handed Luna my stage and turned it into her bachelorette bash. Bystanders tackled them before they could lunge again. They roared at me over strangers' shoulders. Serena, tell these barbarians to back off. Let us explain. I calmly thanked the Good Samaritans and dialed the local police. They stared, stunned. Serena, have you forgotten everything Sterling did for you? I stepped behind Lucien. I have a husband now, back off. Song-Chi broke loose, swung, and punched Lucien. Seducing another man's fiancée, lowlife. I saw genuine hurt glazing his red-rimmed eyes. Serena belongs to Sterling. I threw my arms around Lucien, the knuckles slammed into my ribs. Song-Chi recoiled, aghast. Wait, I didn't mean. Adrian looked at me like a drowning man. Serena, you know we never intended harm. Forgive Chi. He waited for the old pattern, me chasing them, accepting apologies, soothing bruised egos. I coughed, steady as stone. Both broke down, tears splashing on the pavement. Why? You love money, whatever he can give, we can match. They honestly believed I'd traded them for Caldwell's deeper vault. I almost laughed at the price tag they still put on my love. The officers cuffed them and led them away. I straightened Lucien's collar. Why no bodyguards? A few nights in a cell guarantees an undisturbed honeymoon. His tone was velvet wrapped around steel, and I smiled. After that I quit tracking Sterling headlines and focused on the competition. One dusk, buried in fabric samples, I heard a knock. Expecting Lucien back from errands, I opened to find Song-Chi and Adrian soaked to the bone, hollow-cheeked and shaking. To my surprise, my first thought was whether Lucien had an umbrella. I started to close the door. Song-Chi jammed it with his palm, voice cracking. Serena, won't you even invite us in for a minute? I shook my head. I have to bring my husband an umbrella. Adrian's eyes brimmed. Serena. Impossible, you still love me. I was blind before. Come home, please. That certificate has to be fake. I flung off his clawing hand. I'm done with tantrums, yours included. I stepped back. Need me to remind you? Forced entry is a crime here, I can legally shoot you. They still stared, unable to believe it. But I as no longer the girl who'd drop everything and circle them like a happy puppy the moment they whistled. Back then it had been love. Now I simply stretched my arm toward the exit and invited them, politely, to leave. What, now that your darling Luna is yours, you suddenly miss Schwang Schwang? Lucien walked in from the rain, flicking droplets off his umbrella straight onto their faces. Serena is my wife. A decent ex stays as dead as a coffin nail. His calm made the two of them look even more bedraggled. Adrian's nails bit so deep into his palms they left half-moons. We grew up together, remember? That sudden storm in senior year when you raced over with an umbrella. Seeing me drift into the memory, his eyes lit up. All those birthday props we picked, your favorites. We swore we'd throw the three of us a grand party someday. I came back to myself, smiled, and looked past his shoulder. He instinctively turned. Piled behind him were countless cherished props from my old design decks. You stopped giving me gifts years ago, those tools are obsolete. Even the memories had been tossed away by their own hands. His arm dropped, trembling. Rain-soaked relics had long since been replaced by brand-new instruments. Still here? Your little girlfriend's come to fetch you. Lucien's half-smile sent both men jerking their heads up. A figure burst through the door, flinging arms around their necks. Big Sterling brothers, you promised to be good to me, why abandon me? Even their apology trip had to include her, how romantic. Beat it. If our old client hadn't demanded you, we'd never have dragged you along. They shoved her away and stared at me, frantic. Shuang, we only wanted to tame your temper, we've always loved you. Luna stumbled, hate blazing, and whipped out a knife. All because of you, vixen. Climbing high while ruining the sterling name. Before Lucian could move, the brothers kicked her aside themselves. Luna sprawled, unable to rise, they kept their hopeful eyes on me. See? We can't stand her anymore. We'll make her pay for every time she hurt you, just look at us again. They never saw the truth, only what they wanted to see. Security hauled them out, they kept screaming, the way I'd been dragged from Hillside that day. Lucian had them jailed on the same charge, unlawful entry. But online, smear posts popped up like mushrooms. Hashtag Serena plagiarism. Hashtag Serena two-timing. Articles twisted the day Lucian and I got our marriage certificate into some prank wedding to humiliate Adrian. No prizes for guessing Luna's handiwork. I frowned, worried it might hurt my standings. Lucian hugged a stack of files to his chest. Relax. We'll handle it. While shopping for tools I overheard gossip about Adrian and his brother. The old patriarch had grounded them, no passports until they paid back every dime the Sterling family had lost. I exhaled, at last no one would disturb my competition. Judges came to film my setup. I stood tense as praise poured out. Lucian whispered I'd place in the global top 3 for sure. But the week before results, one of my old designs appeared on the plagiarism board, under Luna's name. I opened the message window the brothers had been spamming. After my family threw her out, they'd tied Luna up, tormented her, even tossed her stomach medicine. Back in the country they'd chained her to a desk and sent her running until she looked haggard, 10 years older. They snapped photos of her misery and pushed them to me. I stared, brows knitted. Shuang, we know you hate her. We're avenging you. Their words reeked of plea. I don't hate her. You two hurt me far more. I typed, indifferent. The speech bubble flickered typing, for ages, then fell silent. Probably they'd entered Luna in the contest for revenge. Her thread rocketed to #1, the old mistress story resurfaced. Her reputation as a planner was shredded overnight. So every design she ever sold was stolen? She even snatched Serena's fiancé, and those fools treated the copycat like royalty. Crowds laughed and pointed. Sterling raged, yet not a single nasty comment vanished. Adrian and his brother let the jeers sink in like blades. Does that soothe you even a little? The arrogance was gone, they tiptoed around me in texts. I would win without your help. What you do has nothing to do with me. My answer was ice. The chat window finally went still. I centered myself and waited for tomorrow's announcement. Gazing at my homeland after more than a year, my heart filled with quiet wonder. That farcical wedding-turned-bachelorette bash felt like another lifetime. Lucian swiped into the grand suite, half complaining. The Sterling pests are back, kneeling at the grand entrance begging for 5 minutes with you. I drew the curtain and looked down. Sure enough, they knelt stubbornly while tourists snapped photos. Topics were already bubbling. Adrian is so devoted. Wake up, she's married. Spare us the soap opera. I liked the second comment. Self-inflicted devotion is the cheapest currency. I'd learned that early. By next morning every cheating accusation had vanished. Surveillance from my aborted wedding with Adrian was leaked. Viewers watched, crystal clear, as Adrian and his brother humiliated their fiancée for Luna's giggle. At the same moment I stepped onto the award stage and claimed the Globe's top design prize. A forest aisle, stone stairs carpeted with endless blooms, a dreamscape straight from a fairy tale. Clutching my crystal trophy twined with vines, I hugged Lucian. Outside the hall I met Luna, held by guards, a bottle of acid in her hand. As they dragged her off she shrieked, "Why do you have everything, designs, awards, 3 men who love you, why?" I shook my head. Find your worth in yourself, not in men. Once, every deck I drew longed for Adrian's or his brother's approval. Step back and the world is wider than the Sterling gates. She thrashed and sobbed like a madwoman. Adrian and his brother vanished from my life aft are the ceremony, yet I kept seeing headlines. Luna's old projects imploded one after another. The brothers let the company slide toward ruin. Sterling came out of retirement to stem the bleeding, but Sterling stock still plummeted. Cornered for cash, they messaged again. We're paying for our sins. It's what we deserve. Shuang, can you forgive us? Happy? Not especially. Even if the Sterling Empire cracked, it had nothing to do with me. Lucian and I took a celebration vacation. On its last day I visited Hillside. Caldwell had found a hidden niche for my parents' ashes. I was flying out again, though I'd toasted them from the stage. I wanted to say goodbye in person. Mom, Dad, look, I'm living well. I wiped the headstones and didn't start down the hill until dusk. At the foot I met two ghosts, Adrian and his brother. Haggard, unshaven, shadows of their former swagger. They lurched up, having waited God knew how long. Schwang. We've come to apologize to your parents. I frowned, they floundered, correcting themselves. We regret everything. We asked countless people, searched everywhere, to find this place. We only want to say we're sorry. I'm afraid you'll dirty their sight. They froze. I sighed, climbed into the car Lucian had kept running, and we headed for Riverdale. Their vehicle followed, never too close, never falling away. Incredible, pure magic. I thought her own wedding with Lucian was the pinnacle. I'd regret it for life if I missed this. Pedestrians gaped at their phones. Adrian and his brother winced as if each word were a slap. Kept beyond the velvet rope, they could only watch from afar. So ends the tale of childhood sweethearts. I never looked back as Lucian and I boarded. My future remains vast, exhilarating. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.